What up, everybody? I want to say thank you for listening to this brand new episode of the No Rhyme or Reason podcast. We appreciate every single one of you for tuning in to our show. But there's a small problem. We need you to subscribe on your device, whatever it may be, whether you're checking us out on YouTube, whether you're checking us out on Facebook, no matter where you hear this, subscribe or follow the podcast so you can be alerted as to when we create a new episode for you. We've even added a link down in the description for you where you can just by one click subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Just in case you miss it, you got something going on, you're busy, we ask you to subscribe to the No Rhyme or Reason podcast. Enjoy the show. Yo, you are now tuned in to the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, presented to you by On The Map Music Group, featuring Icarus Gray, and I'm your homeboy WordPlay T.JAY. We deliver to you a dope conversation where we talk about everything for no reason at all. Tune in every Monday to join in on the conversation. And without any further delay, this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast. And we're live.
Yeah. What's up, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy, WordPlay T.JAY.
And this right here is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. So.
Well, yeah. This is a glorious day. There's nothing sad about it or anything of that, blah, 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 or anything of that nature. That fits.
I mean.
But this episode, the reason I'm going to title this episode New Beginnings is because we are halting new episodes of the No Rhyme or Reason podcast after this here lovely thing that we're doing here, this episode, to give you guys so you'll know why there aren't new episodes coming out every week. And the reason it's called New Beginnings is because we're not just like anything that's like, oh my God, like this is too hard. Like, no. We're going to try and focus on a couple of different things outside of doing a podcast. That is to say that there wouldn't be a podcast in the future, blah, 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 all that good, future type stuff. But it's to give you more of a lot of different things. TJ will have, as he always has, his advice channel, music advice channel, coming every week. Orientation Day will be getting a whole lot more videos and things of that nature. I will seriously lock myself into a basement or a cellar to work on more music myself. But just kind of give us some time to kind of like work on the things that are going to change our lives in a major way. Not to say that the podcast couldn't and won't, because we're not like gonna pull this off the internet or something like that. You still get all the episodes. I'm going to do my best to upload the back catalog of our episodes.
Yeah, but it's still available on YouTube. So,
yeah.
I mean, as long as they have access to that, they can go and listen there or watch there rather. So, it is.
Well, they can listen if you got YouTube Red.
You can listen. Yeah, for sure.
You can listen there. But yeah, I kind of want to start off by telling you guys that on the front end, so we don't have to do like some long goodbye thing at the end, which would be like weird and then it would be sad for me. But
cue the violins.
Yeah, the violins. We go down with the ship.
I should be playing violins on my keyboard right now. It's just
but what I wanted to do was kind of like give a reminisce over a lot of things that I've gained from the podcast, a lot of things that I've gained from you guys listening, the guests, so on and so forth. The first thing that I gained is I gained a place to have great conversation with my brother, which I do every day anyway. But
can I say something first? Because
yeah, go ahead.
Before we get into that part, so like All right, so the podcast was originally put together to give us a little bit more of a platform to have the conversations, but also like it was a marketing arm as well, right? So
Right.
it was a branding feature to put more of our names out there and to give a little bit of a little bit more SEO to Google and iTunes and all these other places that would kind of push our content. And so we wanted to grow our individual brands as well. And so what's happened is that started to work. Especially in my case because I've put out so much music lately. And so like essentially what's happening is my career is needing a little bit more focus. Like my part in the business is needing a little bit more attention, right? So I've recruited a manager now. Shout out to Tony. Like I've brought on 2 interns, right? So shout out to Garrett and shout out to Alyssa. Like like these people have really helped me to start to develop the it's sort of like the old T.J. grind in a way. You know what I mean? And so in order to really put out that output like I did when I first began, like it's going to require a lot of time, motivation and attention. And most importantly, it's going to take a lot of rest because when I was going hard, it almost killed me. And so
Yeah.
I need to be able to have that balance, and that balance doesn't come easy when you have 2 weekly shows to produce, you have music videos to schedule, you have people to manage as far as employees are concerned. And so like it just needed to be a situation where I could focus on my brand and fewer things that are kind of branched off from it.
Right. And it would also be, I felt kind of cheap to y'all to just try and get another co-host in. Um, Only because No Rhyme or Reason podcast was something that we created for like I said, for us and our branding kind of stuff. And not that it couldn't work, but it would be a completely different product at that point. So like to let go of this product, and if I decide or choose to do another one at some point, that'll be a different thing altogether, but it wouldn't be the same. And so instead of like just kind of like, well, it changes and growing into something different. Like if it's something different, be something different versus like kind of trying to like, you know, I'm trying to think. There's like a funny thing. I'm trying to think. It's like somebody trying to sneak into like the club or something
Sneak
with like
dissing. No, just kidding.
with the nose and shade and mustache mask, like they can't tell the difference.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just like putting
so
on glasses and you're like, where'd you go?
yeah, so didn't want to do that, and I thought that would be kind of like cheap to y'all. So that's the other thing. Plus,
You could just put on glasses and pretend to be somebody else and then take off the glasses
no.
and just do some
Um,
clever editing, you know what I mean?
Right. But also a big part of it is I need to focus on my actual artistry and things that I want to do. I started doing the podcast, and initially the podcast was something that gave me a platform to where I could in the background kind of focus on my music while still being quote unquote socially relevant, in the sense of you'll hear me and you'll see me every week, and therefore the anticipation for music and stuff like that shouldn't be lost. But what ended up happening is it ended up being more something that I kind of attached myself to in a way that I wasn't doing my music, because I'm like, they'll still know, they'll still want it and all this other stuff. And so I kind of put that to the side versus making it a priority. And I wanted to be able to do better, like, because I want to put out an album. Like, an album was supposed to come out like last year, but I just didn't zone in and finish it, and a wedding and everything else that was going on in my life. But to zone in and focus and kind of get stuff together so that way I can produce all of the things that are going to change not only my life but the lives of those around me. Is going to be amazingly great. So first thing I wanted to do real quick is thank the guests that have come on, everybody that has given us an opportunity, everybody that's worn a shirt, promoted. Amanda is a big part of that in terms of like when we started and some of the first couple of guests that we were able to get. Shout out to Jasmine as well for giving us some guests. Kim Interdonato for coming on our podcast twice. Stephen Hicks for giving us financial advice. Cassette Company. Your uncle.
Yeah. Channing. Yeah.
Shout out to Kendrick and Brandon and everybody else that helped me while TJ was, helping the kids. TJ love the kids.
I don't know about that.
Well,
sip my coffee.
He loves service, so we'll shout out that.
Whoa, service. Pause.
Shout out to Leon the God. Ron.
He's on tour right now.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
But yeah, just shout out all the guests. If I forgot anybody, I apologize. Oh, shout out Miss Afrosia J. She was our first female guest to come on. Like I think she was like the second or third guest to come on the episode. But anyway, shout out to all the guests. It was much appreciated because the people who came on believe in what we're doing and what we're still going to do. And that was like huge in a lot of different ways. Making it to 2 years of doing the podcast wouldn't have been possible without those guests lending their time. Oh, shout out shout out my guy Two Niles. That was one of my favorite episodes. I can't forget to shout him out. That episode was amazing.
Yeah, man, come on to Seattle, bro. We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. Or whenever you come back around, we got to go to Gus's. But yeah, shout out to that. Shout out to T.JAY in general for giving me the platform. And I've said this before, like when we do anniversary stuff, but it was really, we all started this just from me saying, I had thought about this aspect of things and talking to people every week and trying to do positive things. And we were able to do a lot in 2 years of doing this. I know we helped a lot of people with voting. I know we helped a lot of people with confidence, and I know we helped a lot of people with just having somewhere to kind of like have some fun and be happy. We talked about a lot of different topics that were difficult to talk about that a lot of people weren't being honest about at the time. But we tackled everything with a certain honesty that people respected, that it wasn't going to be sugarcoated. We gave and are still giving a platform that allowed people to just kind of be yourself. Like we weren't doing the run of the mill interviews with people. We wanted you to know who that person was, so maybe you have a better understanding of like your favorite artist or the industry in and of itself. So appreciate y'all for that. Yeah, those. You got any other thank yous that you wanted to do?
No.
Oh. I went through the game, but yeah, man. Like I
mean, you covered it all. Like there's nothing else left.
I thought, like it was funny how much. Well, because it's been a part of us for 2 years, there will be something I'll remember. A lot of these people. But yeah, so to the new beginnings and to people who are dealing with this in their lives as well. Because as always, we have to round this out to what we want to do for you and how we want to help you guys. New beginnings are always hard. Doesn't matter whether it's a new school, doesn't matter if it's a marriage, doesn't matter if it's a new apartment. That was the other thing I was gonna say is I wanted you to give them an update because you're
But
in new
are they hard?
gigs.
Are they hard?
Um, no.
Because I mean, I just take it from my perspective. Like new beginnings are really really exciting for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, my fridge finally stopped doing like defrost mode over here. What the hell?
Your house makes a lot of noises.
Yeah, I got
Almost.
woodpeckers and loud ass refrigerator. My bathroom, the light switch is connected to the vent. Like they're not separate, but they were separate at one point in time, and that pisses me the fuck off. So I'm thinking about doing some rewiring, but that would void my lease, and so yeah.
But yeah, it is always fun. I just, I mean, there's a lot of things that you kind of like gotta that gets placed in front of you, and just take those things one step at a time. No matter what it is.
Well, I think yeah, I think that's a difference between two, maybe on a binary sense, it's two different sets of people, right? There's the type of person that kind of welcomes it as an opportunity and they get really energized by it and they think of all the steps as something that they really enjoy. And then there's other people that just get a tremendous amount of anxiety from it and the amount of thought that is put in front of them or the amount of steps that's put in front of them. So two different people have different experiences, I believe.
Right. Yeah. It's a whole new landscape that is either, like I said, your canvas or something that's like, like if you're getting married and all of a sudden you got to move to a whole new state where you don't know anybody, that might cause anxiety for you. Or it's like, well, this is a new state. No one knows me. I get to reinvent, be new.
That's
And
my shit
that's
though.
the cool
Like
part.
for real. Like I don't know. I just been always the guy to like welcome that little bit of angst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I first like started booking shows. At that time I had to get on the phone and book shows, and when you make that call, you don't know what you're gonna get on the other side of that phone.
No.
And so
Um,
there was always a little bit of anxiety before tap those numbers out. And then once I had the conversation and I did it, time and time again, now it's like clockwork. It's easy.
I hate talking to people on the phone. Like, I'm
That's
so much
ironic
rather.
based on the
Now,
conversations.
well, it's different when it's somebody like I talk to all the time. But like, if it's a conversation about like what you're saying, I would much rather meet up with somebody face to face and have that conversation, which is so weird in the sense of how I am. But like, it's easier for me because I feel like if I'm in front of you, we can have a real conversation. If I'm on the
Hmm.
phone with you, you can be distant in a certain way. You
There's still a
can,
filter.
yeah, that there's this, which is so funny if you know like how phones work and stuff, and how like even now me hearing you is not how your voice actually sounds. It's just
Right.
the closest representation of what can be produced from my computer or whatever. But anyway,
It's pretty good, but like, still a little off.
still a little off. Still just a little off. But
It's still not right.
yeah. But yeah, so it's gonna be cool. Like a lot of stuff is gonna come from this, like I said, because gaining time and just some not confidence, but just realization, some realizations on a lot of different things, some actualization of other things, um, and just being able to kind of like pick up and start going forth.
So, what do
Um,
you want from this now? You know what I mean? Like, what
from
have you started to work on your goals? You know what I mean? Or have you thought about like one of your goals in a very concrete manner, and not in a sense of just a overall kind of vague type of thing, but what are the specifics of it? You know what I mean? Can you
Specifics
detail
are
that for the people?
yeah, a couple of specific, or one of the specifics, I guess not a couple, because I'm not gonna get y'all like that. That would defeat the purpose of the question. Um, but the specific thing is, I'm going to finish an album. I I want to finish that album
Right.
before
So tell us
31.
more about it. That's what I meant.
Um, the album.
Yeah.
Oh
Like what do you
well.
want it to sound like? And
Oh, okay. Now I get what you're saying.
yeah.
So I want this album to sound like clarity. This album will be confident. It will be aggressive. It'll be honest. And it'll be the perfect representation of what's to come and what is. It will be a lot of me, just like, but not in a way that it's been before, which me before would have been just a lot of like whatever it was I was going through that doesn't have a thought of how people hear it. Just has the singular thought of this is what I want to say, or this is what I'm trying to say, versus
Mm-hmm.
a focused, honest, like, okay, hey, TJ, this is a song I made.
Yeah.
I like this part. I like this part. Like, well, what do you kind of feel about it? Well, I like this. I like this. Why don't you try this? All right,
All right.
cool.
All right.
Um,
Yeah. And that
well,
would be sort of my role, like a consult, you know.
yeah. But given, and it's a much easier console because you'll know when like, hey man, you're overworking this. Or like doing too much. But it's also going to, like I said, build anticipation. So it's going to be like you'll hear this and you'll want more. You'll hear it and you'll be wondering when the next thing is coming out, or it'll reinvigorate you to see me in different places. But
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I've zeroed in on is
Why
I'm
don't you just
going
go
to have
ham on that? Because it seems the most clear out of all of your visions, right? We've talked about everything
right.
personally,
Yeah.
but like it seems the most concrete.
Yeah, because I spend more time on that subconsciously, even than what I know. So I do this thing still, which like a lot of people, the SoundClick era is kind of over in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Because like it's just not productive. At least not if you don't have the money. Like if you got the money, it might be productive for you, but just buying lead anyway, whatever. That's minutia. But the point being, is I listen to a
Get
lot of
into the business
SoundClick.
of
Yeah,
selling beats.
I listen to a lot of SoundClick beats like once a week, or more than once a week, but like almost every other day. So I'm constantly like listening to sounds, general sounds and styles in my head
Uh-huh.
of, oh, okay, I would do this way, I would do that way. So it's always been a tethered thing that I've never stopped working on my album.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I stopped recording on the album. In the sense of like wanting to finish thoughts, complete songs or complete ideas and stuff like that. So that has been, even if I didn't know it, one of the things that I've focused on even without like fully focusing on it, I guess, subconsciously and consciously. Yeah, that's one of those focuses. Do you, sir? Well, you already told him yours. Because
Well,
you got team.
I didn't get that specific. I did give
No.
him the overall, but I definitely want a gold or platinum plaque this year. Like that's the only thing that I can really think about. I don't know what's drawing me to it, but I'm definitely like this plaque has to be something that I obtain. Like I gotta get it. And the funny part is that usually I would just be like sitting here tinkering and figuring it all out and writing down this like master plan to get to it.
Thinking
And
of a math plan.
as of last year, I realized that doing all of that was kind of futile. Most of the time, if you're in a blissful state, right, which I am right now, I'm the happiest that I've ever been in my life, and things are falling into place left and right. And so even my bad days are good days. And so like that's the thing is when you're in that mood, what happens is you set your intentions, you know what your goals are, especially if it's very specific like that, a gold or platinum plaque, right? So the next thing you start doing is kind of working off of intuition, right? So it's not that I get rid of any plans or goals or anything like that. It's just that I don't force them to come out of my head and go to a sheet of paper. You
Right.
know what I mean? I let them come to me, and then it's like, oh, you know what I mean? You know that feeling, right? Like when you've lost your keys and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I know where they are. It's that. Like it's all of that. And that happens to me time and time and time and time again. And so what I know is that if I focus 100% on finding those little moments, we call them aha moments in school, like yeah, Eureka, you found it. You know what I mean? Like the whole Eureka's castle. Like I don't know why that popped in my head, but
Whoa, that was the segue of segues. Keep going.
all the way back, son.
Man, no one listening of a
But
certain age knows nothing about Eureka's Castle.
but you have that aha moment, and things just kind of click into place. You know, it's no different. Like I said, it's no different than finding something that's lost. As soon as you stop harping on it, usually it shows up, and you're like, I looked everywhere for this. I even looked in this spot for this. Why wasn't it there? Did it just magically reappear? No, it was there the whole time. You were just missing it because you were so focused on trying to find it. And that's
Right.
how I'm going to get my plaques.
Right. But yeah, man. So that's the general update of what we're gonna be doing and what's coming forth. Like that's kind of it, man. I mean, just make sure you check us out on all of the platforms that we're on. Because
Yeah.
we're still active and still alive and all of those stuff. Like this is not, again, I
I
say
don't know.
this is just new
I'm not
beginning kind of
alive.
thing. All my friends are dead.
Oh, my friends are dead. There are times when this is so inappropriate, but there's times when I like walk into the classroom and I just like walk in and I'm like, all my friends are dead. And the kids are like, what the heck is wrong?
No, don't Uzi vert them.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, but yeah, so we're not gonna hold y'all up. Just in the simple fact that the rest of it is just thank yous to you all for listening to us. Keep listening, send in those ratings in the comments. And like I said, you got 116, 15 episodes to check out on YouTube and stuff like that, and subscribe at No Rhyme or Reason Podcast. You can still check us out there and everywhere else. You can still hit me up at Icarus_Gray on Instagram. Icarus Gray everywhere else. It's just this one person that doesn't want to give up an underscore of a name that they don't use. And
Jackass.
Jackass. But
that pisses me off, man. Like, especially when I'm all into branding. Like, it really burns me. But
yeah, so by the end of the year, I mean, you'll definitely hear, more music from T.JAY. Like I said, music advice channel and stuff like that. Make sure you check that out. All of the links are always going to be active and still stuff that we provide for you. We'll still have affiliations with cassette companies, so on and so forth. So we still have deals and things that we have in place for you guys to go and do stuff and get stuff for. Yeah. Just check out all the links and everything.
And I don't do promo. I'm not on the internet at all.
Oh my God. Listen, man. Knowledge is for understanding and not to prove others wrong. This has been the No Rhyme or Reason. I was on the roll. The No Rhyme or Reason podcast with your boy Icarus Gray.
And your homeboy, no promo, TJ.
No promo, TJ. Yo, that is ridiculous. But enjoy your week and weeks to come. And weeks to come. Peace.
Peace.
No Rhyme or Reason is an On the Map music group production.